Hello my dear students, today ICD is on live and today's agenda is to discuss the Hindu Daily dated November 3. I promise you that it is going to be a regular program in the days to come too. We get an additional platform to learn and discuss. I expect all the students to join the program, and this is going to be an important ingredient for your examinations and their preparation. In this context, I would like to tell you that on October 31, the State Bank of India's clerical examination, the mains were conducted. Almost all the questions that came up for the general awareness were from our notes. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, and I shall come with the proof in a short span of time, not during this live session, but I shall come. I shall take a video and I shall present the same to you. That I am very sure will boost your confidence in our notes. When we discuss now, American election results are in the offing. Presently, John Biden, the Democrat, is having a very clear-cut lead over Donald Trump, 238 for Democrats and 213 for the Republicans. American presidential election is a very complicated thing, and unlike how the government is formed in India, we know that India is a parliamentary democracy. We elect our representatives directly and they go, and the biggest political party will form the government. But in America things are different. There are 50 states in America, and people do not vote for these either Donald Trump or John Biden. Rather, people elect electors. Different states have different number of electorates. There can be a situation where one political party or one person gets more percentage vote but still fails to get elected as the President of the United States of America. It happened in the past. Al Gore, the popular vice president of the former US President Bill Clinton, failed in United States elections. At that time, Democrats, Al Gore's Democratic Party won more percentage votes, actual votes, but he failed, and the battle votes decided ultimately in the United States Supreme Court. That shows that in the most powerful democracy in the world, election results were announced in the court, not by the popular vote. We do not know whether the same situation may come again. 12 more states are still going on poll, and the results are yet to come. These swing states will decide who is going to be the President of the United States of America. Mind you, in most of these big states like Texas, where results are yet to come, the Republican Party is leading. One of the major problems with American elections, which was exposed in 2004 in the matter I just referred to, was that there can be a situation where Democrats win more votes but still the Republican will become the president. Suppose there are 1,000 votes in the state of Texas, and these 1,000 voters elect say 25 electors. Then in the 1,000 vote, if one person gets 501 votes and the other 499, the entire 25 electors will go to the party that won 501 votes. That is the so called deficiency of the American electoral system. But anyway, we have to wait and see. American election is going to matter the world, heavily to the world. We know about the destabilizing relationship between China and America. American president is not just the president of United States of America, he is a global leader. American policies is going to affect the world by and large. And we are going through a situation where China is becoming taking its turn to the other axis. So a stronger America is the need of the hour. We know that India is also democracy, and for a country like India, making friends with other democracies would matter heavily. So we all are eagerly waiting for United States of America's elections. It would take maybe another day. Sometimes we have to wait till midnight, or maybe tomorrow even, to know the full results. As a student of competitive examinations, it's our job to keenly watch. Mind you, for exams to come, American presidential election will be a question. And I promise that soon I shall come out with a video how the president is elected in the United States of America. It will be a chance for us to know how different democracies behave and different democracies elect their rulers. So today what I am going to do is to discuss the Hindu November 3, the Hindu dated November 3. I expect at least some of you to come and chat with me. The number of viewers is going up, but I am not happy. I want more and more people to join. This will be the real encouragement to us, and you can write down the views of yours to us. And I promise that it is going to be a regular program, not just for the newspaper analysis. The entire team will come and take live classes on different topics, but this is just a beginning. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let this step be a good step, a steady step forward. So shall I get into my business of discussing the Hindu. Today I am not going to discuss the paper not in detail. As I told you, it is just a beginning. I am also getting familiarized with the technology, but in the days to come I shall learn on the job, I assure you. Okay. So this is November 3 newspaper. The first news is the main news of the Hindu has been this: the Supreme Court stays Election Commission order revoking star campaigner status of Kamal Nath, and another is the Attorney General declines consent for contempt case against Jagan Mohan Reddy, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. So let us discuss both the news items. Supreme Court stays Election Commission order, the October 30 order revoking star campaigner status of Kamal Nath. This is the context. Kamal Nath, the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, supposedly made a remark that violated the Model Code of Conduct. Model Code of Conduct is a set of rules and guidelines that govern the elections, and he supposedly violated the Model Code of Conduct, and he made some derogatory remark against one of the candidates of the BJP, and the Election Commission swung into action, and they removed or barred Kamal Nath from being the star campaigner of the Congress party, which is also contesting the elections. Immediately the Congress party moved to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court asked, what have you to do with political parties' decision to choose their own campaigners? So Election Commission's guiding rules do not allow them to ban or bar any person from becoming the star campaigner. So Election Commission had to was given a strict order by the Supreme Court to do away with its decision to bar Mr. Kamal Nath from being the chief or star campaigner of the Congress party for the elections. But by the time the order came yesterday, the the entire election campaign, everything is over. Anyway, now I move on to a more important thing. It is about the Attorney General's decision to decline the decision of the government, or a case was given to move a contempt of court proceedings against Jagannath Reddy of Andhra Pradesh, who is the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. The context of the case is this: Jagannath Reddy wrote an open letter to the Chief Justice of India saying that the next in the queue, the next going to be Chief Justice, Justice Ramana, who is the most senior judge of the Supreme Court after the Chief Justice, Jagannath Reddy complained that Justice Ramana is intervening in the matters of the state and in some of the cases against the former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, and he revealed this particular letter to the public also. So a contempt of Supreme Court, contempt of court case was moved against Jagannath Reddy, but the Supreme Court, but the Attorney General did not give did not tick the contempt of case proceedings. Then who is this Attorney General of India, or what is that position? We know that Attorney General is the senior advocate of the Supreme Court, Mr. 𝐃𝐚𝐥𝐬. He is a very senior advocate and a constitutional expert. Attorney General of India is the highest law officer of the country. Attorney General of India advises the government on all legal matters. Attorney General is appointed by the President of India, and he holds the rank of the Union Cabinet Minister, though he is not a Minister of the Cabinet. He is not a Minister of the Cabinet, unlike in United Kingdom. In United Kingdom, the Attorney General is a minister, but here Attorney General does not have any executive power. He is not a part of the cabinet, but he advises the union government on all legal matters. He is the only one person who must be give audience to. He is the only one person who must be give audience to in either houses of parliament, and also he must be given audience to by every court in India. There is only one person, that is the Attorney General of India, and Attorney General of India, even though he is not a member of parliament, must be given audience to by either house of parliament, though he does not have the right to vote. So Attorney General of India, his prior consent is required to proceed with any contempt of court proceedings. That is why this particular news has become very important. Attorney General of India did not give his consent to move against Jagannath Reddy, though in his letter he said that the letter of Jagannath Reddy to the Chief Justice was untimely. He declined to give consent to move further. Okay. Now, yes, we have just spoken about the race for the White House, the most powerful office in the world, whether it is going to be Donald Trump or whether it is going to be John Biden. We have to wait. Anyway, I shall briefly give you some ideas about the American elections. There are 538 electoral college votes for which the elections are taking up. There are 50 states in the United States of America. There are 50 states, the biggest being the state of California, where there are almost 50 electoral college voters are there. So the people are not voting for either Donald Trump or John Biden, but people are voting for these electoral college voters. So say take the case of Texas. Texas is one of the very big states in the southern part of United States of America. There are, if my memory is anything to go by, there are 35 electoral college votes in Texas. So we know that there are two political parties. One is the Republicans, which is the candidate is the current president Donald Trump, and the Democrats, Republicans and the Democrats. So suppose at the end of the election, when the votes are counted, Republican parties get say 50.1 percentage votes and 49.9 for Democrats. So percentage wise there is only very marginal difference, but as per American election rules, the entire 34 electoral votes will go in favor of Republicans. So this is how American elections are conducted, presidential elections are conducted. So don't think that in America the elections are perfect. No, it is not. American presidential elections were widely exposed in 2004 when Al Gore, who ran for presidency on behalf of the Democratic Party, won more elections in numbers but still failed to reach the White House. He was beaten by George W. Bush Jr. Anyway, so we all are watching very carefully what is going to happen. What is going to happen in the American elections? As I told you, America is a trillion economy. As I told you, America is the master democracy of the world. American influence is very wide. American influence not just on countries, but American elections on various institutions in the world like the World Bank and IMF. It's tremendous. So what is going to happen in United States of America is something that everybody in the world is very keenly watching for, and that must be the case for anybody who prepares for a competitive examination also. Okay, so I am proceeding further. See, this is the editorial of the Hindu dated November 3. There are two editorials, mind you. The editorial of a newspaper is the conscience of the newspaper. It's a conscience of the newspaper. So you should read the editorial pages. Anybody who prepares for serious examinations like the civil services or bank probation officer examinations must read the Hindu. And there is another significance also. If you go by the question papers of these days for the clerical or the officers for any examinations, the question makers clearly take the editorial page or other articles straight away. They are not modifying, straight away they are taking. For reasoning questions, logical reasoning, straight away the newspaper things are taken. So mind you, it is very important. First, your connect with the world will improve. Second, your language proficiency will improve. In fact, these are the two things that we require very badly to clear these exams. Anyway, the first editorial has been about the possibility of reopening of the schools. 2020 was a very bad year for school children, not just for the economy, for school children. They are the people who suffered the most. The 1 year of academic, entire academic thing is almost wiped off. So various examination boards are planning for cutting the syllabi, which is going to affect our manpower capabilities in the years to come. It will get reflected only on a later stage, but anyway, there is no other way. We are going through a very difficult time. So the central government has given consent to the state governments to start the classes, but most of the states are yet to take decisions. So they have to balance. Mind you, the winter is coming. Mind you, this festival season, Diwali, is coming. So most of the governments are suspicious about the COVID situation bouncing back. The second wave has started in many of the European nations, but if the second wave comes to India, it is going to create a havoc. So, school children cannot be exposed to the virus, that is why the states are concerned. So, how are the governments going to manage the COVID is the suspicion aired by the Hindu in yesterday's editorial. The second editorial was about GST collections. Of course, GST means the goods and services tax. We know that I shall tell you about that. The Indian constitution is very clear about the tax collections. The original constitution divides taxes into 4 categories. 1, levied by the central government, consumed in entirety by the central government. Category number 2, levied by the central government, divided between the center and the states. 3, levied by the central government, distributed among the states. And 4, levied by the state government and consumed by the state governments. So, we now know that there are taxes. Taxes are broadly into 2 types, direct taxation and indirect taxation. In the case of indirect taxation, in that context I shall tell you what is this direct taxation, indirect taxation. Please listen to me. What is direct taxation, what is indirect taxation? We know that every tax has to be paid by the taxpayer and the government is the tax receiver. In the case of direct tax, the taxpayer directly gives the tax to the government. But in the case of indirect tax, again the taxes are paid by the taxpayer and the receiver is going to be the government, but mind you, there is an intermediary in between. It is the job of the intermediary to correct the tax from the taxpayer and pass it on to the government. This is the difference. So, this is called a direct tax. Example is income tax is a direct tax, income tax is a direct tax, and this is called the indirect tax. GST is a classical indirect tax, the goods and services tax. I have already uploaded a video on goods and services tax and it is available in the classroom, you may please visit. But anyway, broadly I am saying that GST, introduction of GST has been the biggest fiscal decision taken by the government ever since 1947. What was that? GST came into being on July 1, 2017. It was on July 1, 2017 that GST was introduced in India, subsuming all the prevailing indirect taxes. We have heard about a VAT, we might have heard about sales tax, we might have heard about union excise duty, the production tax. Mind you, with the advent of GST, all these taxes got subsumed and replaced by one single goods and services tax. So, GST was introduced. When GST was introduced, what essentially happened was that the state governments of India surrendered their authority to tax commodities and services, and a national one India one tax, the GST, came into being. Thanks to COVID, the GST collection has been plummeting. You know, shops were closed, transactions were not taking place, economy moved on to a kind of a paralyzed or a hibernation stage. So, considering those things, the tax collections per month, GST collections were coming down like anything, and it touched another. But to bring back happiness to the government, for the past 2 months, September as well as October, GST has been back to normal. In September, the growth was just 4%, but in October, for the first time in this financial year, the GST collections crossed 1 lakh crore to touch 1.05 lakh crore, to the cheers of the government. But the article says, the editorial says that this is not going to be, this is not going to continue, at least in the short term. While? Because the buoyant tax collection is the result of the so-called pent-up demand that was created in the economy thanks to the close down, and slowly, thanks to people having not enough money in their hands, the GST collections will also come down. If people don't have money, if people don't spend money to buy, naturally the collection of GST has to come down. Anyway, we hope that things will go back to normalcy in India very soon. Let us hope so. Please read this article. Now I move on to another center page article, reinforcing RBI's accountability by Pooja Mehra. Pooja Mehra is the authoress of a major work called The Lost Decade. I think this came up for our examination in one of the previous examinations, The Lost Decade. This is one. The Lost Decade was written by Pooja Mehra. This particular book was asked for any of these examinations in the past years. Anyway, one of the major roles of the Reserve Bank of India's monetary policy is to control price movement or to ensure price stability. So when we speak about it, to give an idea about how prices move, please keep this relationship in your mind. Prices are directly proportional to demand and inversely proportional to supply. Whenever we think about price, this should come to your mind. Prices are directly proportional to demand and inversely proportional to supply. So when the demand goes up, prices go up. When the supply goes up, prices will come down. Very easy to understand. During the times of Christmas, or maybe in Onam, during Onam in Kerala, the consumption of vegetables go up. So during Onam times, the price of vegetables will go up. Very easy to understand. When plenty of oranges come from Nagpur, when oranges supply go up in Kerala, price of orange will be checked, it will come down. Very easy to understand. So Reserve Bank of India's major role is to ensure price stability by controlling inflation. What is inflation? For common man, inflation is simply rise in prices, but for an economist, it is too much of money chasing too few goods. Anyway, if prices shoot up in an erratic manner, it will affect the lives of common man. So major job of the Reserve Bank of India is to ensure price stability. That is done through their monetary policy decisions. Government of India in 2016 through a Constitution Amendment Act gave the target to Reserve Bank of India to make sure that the lower band is at 2% and 6% the maximum tolerance level for inflation. This is the minimum inflation tolerance level and this is the maximum. Reserve Bank of India has to fix its policies to ensure that inflation rates do not come below 2 or go up beyond 6. Anyway, Reserve Bank of India will definitely fail this year because of the unusual situations that the country is going through. Anyway, how does Reserve Bank of India do it? Listen, we know that if prices are going up, if price levels are going up, that is what is happening in India now. Retail prices are slowly soaring. So if prices are going up, to control prices only two things can be done: demand has to be reduced or supply has to be increased. But it is not the job of the Reserve Bank of India to do on the supply side. It's like mainly a governmental job. So how does Reserve Bank of India control control prices? Reserve Bank of India control prices by making policies to control demand or to reduce demand. But mind you, again we are going through an unusual situations. So Reserve Bank of India does not have too much of ammunition in their hands to control demand this time. Rather, government is asking Reserve Bank of India to reduce the interest rates so that loans will become cheaper to people and people will buy more. When they buy more, the demand will go up, the prices will also go up. So in this year what is going to happen is that we have to forget about inflation control. We have to forget about inflation control, but our priority must be to revive the economy, which has already suffered heavily thanks to COVID. Anyway, please read this article. This article says that Reserve Bank of India is not going to sorry, Reserve Bank of India is not going to meet their inflation targets dictated by the government. Let us see. Yes, this is going to be a sure shot for your examination. For the first time an Indian has become the member of the New Zealand cabinet. Sorry, Jacinda Ardern, she is the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and she is a COVID time leader of New Zealand, one of the very few leaders who won a lot of accolade from their own people during the times of COVID. Anyway, she has included Priyanka, who is an Indian, a Chennai born Indian who has got roots in Kerala. She has become the first cabinet minister of New Zealand. This is going to come for your examinations too. Please take down. So thank you very much for watching. Helped you. I shall come back again. Yeah, Vinesh, thank you very much. Thanks very much for the comment. This is well and truly an encouragement to me and for my team, and we shall again come back with another and every day we are going to come on 12 o'clock at 12 noon. Today it was just a kind of a beginning, but of course we have begun well, and I hope we have begun well, and I expect all my students to participate, and if that will be the true encouragement to me. I must ensure that, and I must get a feeling that yes, my students are watching. Hello Umesh, hi. So I ensure that you should ensure that you participate at 12 o'clock and enjoy. And the days to come I shall present a few English words taking straight away from the newspapers. I shall describe them too. Thank you very much for thank you everyone. So we will meet again at 12 o'clock tomorrow